Hello, I'm Lee Mormon, and I'm part of the group Garnet and Code. And today we're going to go over what our app does, a problem we found with apps similar to ours, and what it's like to interact with them, uh, what our project's use case is, and what its goals are, the technologies we use to create the project, as well as a demo to show what it can do. The problem we found with apps that are similar to ours is that they don't tend to have enough information, and sports fans will rely on multiple platforms to track teams, stats, and updates. Information is fragmented and not personalized. There's no way to simply interact or save important data that you want to save specific to a team or a player, things like that. So users will have to switch between different websites to see team standings, player rosters, game updates. This is an issue because it can be time consuming to gather information. There's no centralized place for favorites or preferences, and you have a limited ability to engage with the data. And as an example, would be predictions, comparisons, or tracking trends. We decided to make this app for sports fans who would like to follow their team's players closely and want to be able to keep track of their stats. People that want quick, organized access to their sports data, and users interested in tracking favorites or making predictions. You can interact by viewing team standings and player rosters in one place, so you don't have to go through multiple websites. You can save and manage favorite players or teams. You can access organized, easy to read sports data. And you can also engage with features like predictions or comparisons so that you can have an idea of how well your team's doing. The value provided is that it's a centralized platform for all relevant information. It's faster and more efficient user experience than other apps similar to ours, has personalized interaction through the favorites and the data that you can save, and you have a more meaningful engagement with sports data.
Hello, my name is Maurice Hooks, and I will be going over the current process. So, the role of external platforms. Some users turn to sports betting platforms to view odds and predictions, compare team performance trends. However, these platforms are not designed for general data tracking. Sports betting is restricted or illegal in some states, limiting access, and not all users are comfortable using gambling based platforms. Just a few insights. So, how do users currently solve this problem? They visit multiple websites, apps for different types of information. One for team standings, another for player stats and rosters, and others for news, updates, or predictions. Alright, so the key pain points are time consuming and inefficient, constant platform switching, no centralized way to save favorites, limited or restricted access to certain tools depending on location, lack of safe, accessible ways to explore predictions and trends. So here are our app goals. Provide a centralized platform for sports data, allow users to easily view teams, players, and stats, and enable users to save and manage favorites. Offer a simple way to explore predictions and trends, and improve overall speed, accessibility, and user experience. Thank you.
Hello, this is Cyrus Zhang, and I'm here to talk about the technologies we used for our project. For the front end, we use React.js to build our dynamic and component-based UI, and then we use CSS for styling and the overall design for our website. We then use React Router for the navigation between our pages so that a user can easily switch between pages whenever they want. For backend, we use Node.js for the server-side logic, and then we use Express.js for handling API routes and requests. For our database, we use MongoDB in order to store user data. These user data include predictions, favorites, and login information. We then use Mongoose for schema modeling and database interaction. For the data and APIs that we use footballdata.org in order to call upon Premier League teams' data, such as roster and recent matches and upcoming matches. We then use Bizorio Sports API in order to call upon live Premier League standings to update real time and for the results that have happened already so that it shows a completed correct score after a match is completed. Initially, we used JSON and CSV files for initial testing of the model, but now we have switched to APIs. For testing and development tools, we use Jest and Supertest for backend testing, and then we use Git and GitHub for version control and collaboration when we work together. For deployment, we are using Render, and we are hosting it under Render with environmental variables for a secure configuration of our website.
Hi, my name is Elena, and today I'll be walking you through Garnet and Code's Sport Predictor app. For this demo, we will be following one of our users, Alex. Once you start on our web app, you land on our landing page, where you can get a general overview and information of what will happen on our site. You see here that what you can do is favorite teams, predict matches, play some mini games, and get live data. Why we use this site? It's an all-in-one experience, competitive fun, and built for fans. On the top right corner, we will navigate to the sign-in. Here you can sign up or you can sign in, and we'll be using Alex's data. And we will navigate to the dashboard.
Hi, my name is Ava, and we will be going through Alex's dashboard. So, as you can see, he has a total of 32 predictions, and he's gotten 53% correct and 34% incorrect. So, down here, we have our soccer predictions, and the pending games are we're waiting for the result, and the green check mark indicates that the prediction was correct, and the red X indicates that the prediction was incorrect. Down here, we have the football predictions. So for each team page, there is a rival game vote, and these are Alex's selections. And up top, we have his team favorites. So he likes Brentford, Fulham, and the Green Bay Packers. And his favorite players are Trey Amos, Jaden Daniels, and Terry McLaurin.
And now if Alex wants to go make some predictions, we can navigate to the soccer page via the navigation bar. We also have the football up here, but we'll show that to you later. Here we land on the Premier League homepage, where we can see the dynamic standings after each match week are completed. So here we can see that Arsenal is in the first place with 73 points, where Wolverhampton is in the last place with 17. We can either click on the standings and view the team there, or we can click the teams here. On this page, we can go to Aston Villa and either favorite a player, or view their recent matches or upcoming matches with some fun facts. But we will go back and view the matches. Here, it will load and get the dynamic data following each match week. Now we can make predictions based on our data that we have used to create these predictions. So Alex sees that Garnet and Code says that Leeds United FC has a 53% chance of winning this game on Friday, May 1st. But Burnley FC has a 22%. So right now, Alex has Burnley winning. Unsure, maybe he has a different advantage or site that he might think. But to go further, he might think that Brentford, which has a 48% chance of winning, and West Ham United FC, who has a 23% chance of winning, he might see that Brentford FC has that in the bag. And we can view past match weeks, which have the uploaded scores, or future ones as well. And then we can go back to the dashboard to see if our predictions on the dashboard. And they will come up with pending.
Another feature that the dashboard has is when you press a favorited team or player, it takes you to their team page. So now we are transitioned from soccer into football. So for each of the 32 teams in both the NFC and the AFC, they all have team pages. The first team page that we're looking at is for the Washington Commanders, where the team name is up here, and then followed by a few quick stats, including the division, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the special teams coordinator. As you can see, Alex made a prediction over here of who he thinks would win the rival game between the Commanders and the Cowboys. Here are the 2026 opponents for the Washington Commanders, and if you press one of them, on the right, it'll show the past 5 games between the Commanders and the Cowboys. And down here is a spot for Alex to make a vote of who he think will win this game. So let's say he wants the Cowboys to win. He votes for the Cowboys. And he can go ahead and do that for each of the teams. On the far left, you can see his favorited players. And he favorited number 23, Trey Amos, as well as number 5, Jaden Daniels. Underneath the roster is the schedule, which the NFL hasn't released a schedule yet, so TBD. Over down here is the depth charts, and it'll show the offensive, the defensive, and the special teams depth charts for all teams. So if we were to navigate from here, you can pick which conference you would like to see. Let's go with the NFC. And you can either sort it by division or the full conference to see how your team is doing. And then you can press the team. And Alex hasn't made a prediction for who's going to win. So let's say the Seahawks. And it looks like 70% of our users think the Seahawks are going to win, and 30% of our users think the Cardinals are going to win. If we were to go back to the dashboard, it'll show that he voted for the Seahawks. In addition to viewing team stats and player stats, users can also play games. So we're going to go ahead and play a football game. You have 3 options, either guess the football player, a memory game, or trivia. Let's start by playing the memory game. So you can pick the board size, 4x4, 6x6, or 8x8. Start by 4x4, and you just have to pretty much tap and reveal the tiles. And when you get a match, that's a point. And then once your whole screen is full, you win the game. Another game that's an option is a trivia game. So there's a couple quick questions related to the NFL. And the last one is you guessing the football player based off of a couple clues. So it'll give you a position, a team, a jersey number, and then you can go ahead and type in. My guess would be Christian Gonzalez. Submit my guess. I was incorrect. So it looks like his jersey number is 30. I don't know. Reveal the next clue. He plays for the Texans. No idea. And then it says it was Brandon. Another game is pretty much the same. It's just all soccer related. So if we wanted to play a soccer game, match the tiles. Soccer trivia. And guess the soccer player.
Now Alex will return back to the dashboard where he can view his stats again. He doesn't like that he only has 52% correct, so he's going to navigate to settings. Here he can also change his current username, current email, and password. He can also reset his prediction history as well, which will get rid of all of the stats regarding his. But instead, Alex is deciding to feel frisky and delete his account. It will pop up to make sure he wants to delete it. He's going to say okay, and then get logged out back to the overview page. He will go to the sign in and actually now create an account. Now here we can see the empty dashboards for our site. And now he can have some fun and go back in and add all of his favorites, teams and players, but also create more soccer predictions and football predictions. Thank you.